Earlier this week, Pope Francis launched a global campaign calling for peace in Syria.
Preghiamo e aiutiamo I cristiani a rimanere in Siria.
Before a massive crowd packed into St. Peter's Square, the Holy Father lit a candle and prayed for Christians in the country. The bloody civil war in Syria has lasted for nearly 8 years. Vatican Correspondent Juliet Linley joins us from Rome. Juliet, tell us about the campaign the Holy Father kicked off on Sunday.
Lauren, the Pope is asking the world to pray for the thousands of men, women and children in Syria who are suffering as a result of this civil war. The conflict there began, as we know, in 2011 and is still raging. The government led by President Bashar al-Assad is fighting with opposition forces who want him removed. Now, the prayer campaign is being sponsored by the group Aid to the Church in Need, and that Catholic organization says that it involves over 50,000 children of different religions from war-torn cities in Syria. Now, as we know, more than 400,000 people have died in the conflict, according to estimates.
Boy, those numbers are just staggering. St. Paul had his famous conversion on the road to Damascus, and the disciples of Jesus were first called Christians in Syria. Give us a sketch of the Christian community there.
Lauren, as you said, Christians have very deep roots in the country, and their communities are ancient. About 100 years ago, Christians made up as much as 25% of the population, and now they make up only about 10%. Christians have fled in large numbers due to the bloody civil war, and according to the UN, more than 5 million Syrians are refugees. Now, through this campaign, the goal of Aid to the Church in Need is to send $17 million to help Christians who remain in the country.
5 million refugees, Juliet. So what is the Pope's solution to this?
Lauren, the Holy Father says we must pray for the Christians there and help them to stay in their country. Church officials in the Middle East say we must help their communities thrive in their native lands rather than helping them flee to the West. Many say that Christians are the ones who can play a key role in keeping peace in the region, and it'll be a great loss if they're forced to abandon their ancient communities. Pope Francis calls Christians in the Middle East witnesses of mercy, forgiveness and reconciliation. And he's also calling those who foment war and make arms for conflicts to a conversion of heart.
Juliet Linley, EWTN News Nightly Vatican correspondent, thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.